From the beginner to the professional, from being a novice to being a master, from playing and experimenting things to create a masterpiece in life. This is called art. And our art on this show is sound. Hi, I'm L.V. Smith, host of the show Sounds Within. I'm very excited today, and I got to give a shout out to certain members of my crew, such as James Jones, Dave Johnson, and especially the Nice Wander, known as the Now Man, for helping, and really Richard Allen, to help me connect with Dave Fertig of the Blues Society. And he brought along a friend called S.S. Jones. So I want to welcome you gentlemen on. Oh, it's so good to have you here. Thank you very much for coming. Oh, yes, yes. Wonderful, wonderful. Now, as you know, my show mainly deals with sound. And I like to always ask the first question to find out about my guests. What makes you, you? But we'll start with you, Dave. What makes you, you? What makes Dave, Dave?
Love.
Love.
Love and the desire for it and the desire to give it.
Great.
And it's sort of trite maybe, but the way I was raised, you know, raised in a house full of people always, all doing stuff that was aimed to be for the good of everyone else. And so that made me who I was.
Fabulous. Okay, SS. Mm-hmm. I'd like to know what makes S.S. Jones, S.S. Jones.
Many things. I think the ability to express myself musically is probably one of the larger ingredients that makes S.S. Jones who he is. So without that ingredient to be able to communicate musically, I wouldn't be wouldn't be complete. So I guess that's a large component to making S.S. Jones.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, S.S., we're going to ask you another question, and then we'll come back to Dave Fertig here. Mm-hmm. But the question for you, I want you to I want you to dig back as far as you can to remember. What was the very first sound you ever remember hearing, whatever that sound was?
Musically?
No, not musically.
Any sound?
Any sound. What was the very first sound you remember?
It's a difficult. Maybe it probably was some kind of musical sound because I was brought up in a musical household. Mother sang, father sang, so I'm sure it was a musical sound. I can't go exactly what it was, but I'm sure it was something musical.
Something musical. Music.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the world.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Dave, back to you. What was the very first sound you ever remember hearing?
I had the advantage of you telling me in advance you were going to ask this question. But it came to me quickly, because the earliest memory I have of anything involved the sound. And the sound was me screaming my guts out, because it was looking up at lights, much like the lights in the studio down here. I was on a gurney, and I was being strapped down, and my big tube was being put around my arm, and this big needle was coming to my arm. Turns out I was about 1 year old. I talked to my father about this, and there were certain other details around it. And he said, Dave, that was when you were being circumcised. So it was me screaming.
I screamed too.
Well, I was premature. I had a lot of operations when I was very young and such like that, so I was in the hospital a lot. But that's the first sound I remember. But my mother did sing to me a lot in my youth. But man, that was the first thing I'll never forget.
Oh, I don't think I could ever forget it for me either. Okay.
Sorry.
No, nothing to be sorry about here now. We're going to talk about, now, you happen to be the director or the president of the Los Angeles Blues Society.
Well, I'm a director, vice president, yeah. The Los Angeles Blues Society, founded in 2009.
2009.
You would think it had been founded earlier.
You would think.
But a bunch of people got together and said that there are various blues societies around town, and they are doing different things. And what we wanted to do was to have a community-based blues society that had, that was not about making the best blues, it was about making community around enjoying blues and around bringing people together in this original American art form.
Yes, it
That's
is.
so accessible that people can play it and have fun. And they can play it with great beauty and care or with great vigor and accuracy, but fun. I liken it to like a jungle gym, which is a framework in which little Susie can be doing somersaults on this part of it, and Olga Corbett can be doing Olympic quality gymnastics on it there, but they're both engaging in the same framework. And they can work together, and people of different stripes and types and
Experiences
things like that
and walks of life.
come together in the blues.
And sharing their beautiful art known as the blues. All right. Now, that question leads real quickly to this. What sound drove you to pursue that?
Well, again, I was raised in a household where we had a variety of musicians coming through. The Freedom Singers lived at our house at times. Oscar Brown was around all the time. And his son was a friend of mine in first grade. And we drink knee-highs together till the cows came home.
Knee-highs, I remember them.
Southside Chicago. And the music was around. And my parents were, my mother was particularly musical. But we would we would travel through the South. There were Freedom Rider, organizing SNCC and core organizations. And so I heard the blues, the Blind Boys of Alabama. I remember seeing them in a Quonset hut in the South Georgia Islands when I was about 5 or 6 years old.
That's great. We're going to take a little pause here, but let's hear from S.S. Jones. What are you going to perform for us?
Well, I'm going to do a song called Cakewalk in the Town, and a medley of a few other songs.
Okay, well, we're going to hear that Cakewalk first, and then we're going to get into those other songs. So let's take a sound of S.S. Jones.
All right. I had the blues so bad one time it put my face in a permanent frown. But now I'm feeling so much better, I can cakewalk into town. Well, I woke up this morning feeling so good I had to lay right back down again. Roll your big leg on me, mama, I might not feel as good again. Well, my baby, oh my baby, I love the way that she walks. When girl gets baby, I love the way she baby talks. Yeah, I had the blues so bad one time it put my face in a permanent frown. But now I'm feeling so much better, I can cakewalk into town. I like to go on a picnic with your mama, yeah, and spend all day. I don't do care if I do nothing but spend my time away. Yeah, I had the blues so bad one time it put my face in a permanent frown. But now I'm feeling so much better, I can cakewalk into town. Well, work done got scarce, you know, Lord. Work done got so hard. I spend the whole day stealing chicken, mama from the rich folks' yard. I got the blues so bad one time, it put my face in a permanent frown. But now I'm feeling so much better, I can cakewalk into town. When I was a little bit of baby, mama would have rocked me in the cradle in them old cotton fields back home. Yeah, I was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana, in them old cotton fields back home. Yeah, when them cotton balls get rotten, you couldn't pick very much cotton in them old cotton fields back home.
Yeah, I was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana, in them old cotton fields back home. I went over to Arkansas. People said, oh, what you come around here for? In them old cotton fields back home. Yeah, I went over to Arkansas. People said, what you come around here for? In them old cotton fields back home. Yeah, when them cotton balls get rotten, you couldn't pick very much cotton in them old cotton fields back home. Yeah, I was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana, in them old cotton fields back home.
Hi, this is L.V. Smith, host of the show Sounds Within, which comes on Fridays, 8:30 a.m. and 8:30 p.m. When I'm not producing that show, I like to watch Dan Nicewander's show called The Now Men Show, Thursdays at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Hi, L.V. Smith, host of the show Sounds Within. Today, our very special guest from the Los Angeles Blues Society, Vice President or Vice Director, Mr. David Fertig, and he brought along a super guest, Mr. S.S. Jones, Blues Extraordinaire. Now, we last were talking about what sound drove or motivated us to do what we do, so S.S. Jones, I understand you're a blues musician and quite an accomplished one at that, in the Lead Belly tradition. Now, what was the sound that drove you to pursue that?
Well, I've been sort of a scholar studying the works of Lead Belly, and amongst other blues musicians. I've been a blues musician for about the last 40, 50 years now, so I've been...
You hide your age well.
Thank you. But I've explored many aspects of blues music in many different forms and types. There's many different kinds of blues. There's electric blues, country blues, and so I've been exploring all the types. And in doing the types, I've played many of the different artists, Lead Belly, Mississippi John Hurt, and those kind of guys. And that's what led me to those kind of songs. So there's a wide field of blues music, and there's a lot of different types of blues. It's not all one music, or many times people hear the blues, they think of B.B. King, and that is the blues to them.
Yeah.
And they don't know about Lead Belly.
No.
And a lot of it is also folk blues, because blues was a folk music. That's how it started. And so a lot of it is the music of Lead Belly is folk blues, and it's not considered the B blues. When people say it's a blues show and then you go see Lead Belly, you say, well, he's not blues, because you may not have associated him with being the blues. But of those forms, I like to present in my music a variety of the different types, and explain to people where the music comes from and emanated from, and what are some of the historical aspects behind the music too. So those have been my motivating factors in getting involved in, especially country blues.
Yes. I'm reminded of the writings from this one book called The Blues People, which really laid down the historical background, how it began as fill hollers and things.
Right,
and
shouters,
spirituals, yes. And it touched upon very much what you're saying, like whoever heard of Hound Dog Taylor or people like that. And so it's so great that you are bringing this out. Now,
well, it's also the root of, really, you think of blues has to be considered the root of all the American music. Country, western, all popular music, all derived from the music. So it is the root of our popular American music.
Yes,
all goes back to the blues.
Yes, it does.
So that's it.
Other than indigenous, that's it.
Makes it a very important art form.
Yes. Okay. That's wonderful. That's nice and rich. Now, what does it take for a blues to become a blues musician? What tools are needed to become a blues musician?
Yeah.
You want to take that one, David?
Well, I would say, I mean, I'm just a half-ass harp player myself, but I've been playing blues for a long time. It's a real honor to play with SS, my gosh. But a lot of people come to it different ways. But to me, the blues, you know, in an authentic sense, is about telling a story. It's getting it off your chest music. You know, I mean, I love jazz, but sometimes that's a technical exercise. It's an interesting mathematical problem, and it's fascinating and fun or good to dance to and such. But blues is about reaching into your real emotions and exposing yourself in a way, I mean in a legal way. But also getting it off your chest, telling the truth, and getting your, you know, it's almost therapeutic in a way, and it's got to be for it to mean anything.
To speak up with the jazz players, they have the blues, and they'll say it's the blues.
Most jazz is blues. But I'm just saying that how you measure jazz is not always about emotional honesty, but about technical acumen.
Right.
But it's got to swing, it's got to make you move, it's got to make you think and care.
That's what I'm saying.
But blues, as S was saying, it started as a communications device.
Yes.
And it's about telling a story, not just about, you know, the music.
There you go.
Right.
Okay, what tools you believe are needed, S.S. Jones, to be a blues musician?
Well, I would suggest to anybody who wanted to be a blues musician, you pick your instrument and you start learning. And the best way to is always good if you want going to play the music and perform the music, or just be a home musician or just for a hobby. You listen to the great musicians first. Listen to the great blues musicians and go back, and then you kind of decide on what kind of blues I really like. You say, I like the blues. You know, there was a time in history when they called it blues jazz because they were so closely related.
Yes.
They said this blues jazz music because they were so closely related. So
Yes, it
I think
was.
to be a good blues musician, you have to kind of listen to the stuff and see what you like, and then not only get you a good, competent teacher to show you how to play if you're going to do an instrument or sing it, but in learning the technical aspects of the music, also go back and listen to the original players of it, because many of those who created it didn't have any technical training at all.
No, they didn't.
So they actually created the music form on a
That's
lot of
it. They just
feeling.
felt it and did it.
And a lot of it is feeling. It's not all technical. It's not the blues scale, you know.
No.
Probably Son House and them probably never knew what a blues scale was.
No.
But they played one perfectly. So I would suggest if you want to be a good blues musician, go back and listen to the great guys.
Go to the roots, huh?
Find a guy to teach you, a good teacher, and then put yourself into it. You know.
It seems that most of the teachers would say you're going to have to find out who you are first.
Yeah, that's right. you really do. I can show you where the chords are and maybe where the notes are and the basic chords you need to know and what the blues scale looks like, but you have to make it say something.
How about you demonstrating that in another song?
I'd love to.
Okay. We're going to hear Mr. S.S. Jones perform for us another compilation of his songs.
All right.
Down. When I was a little bit of baby, mama would have rocked me in the cradle in them old cotton fields back home. Yeah, I was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana, in them old cotton fields back home. Yeah, when them cotton balls get rotten, you couldn't pick very much cotton in them old cotton fields back home. Yeah, I was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana, in them old cotton fields back home. I went over to Arkansas. People said, oh, what you come around here for? In them old cotton fields back home. Yeah, I went over to Arkansas. People said, what you come around here for? In them old cotton fields back home. Yeah, when them cotton balls get rotten, you couldn't pick very much cotton in them old cotton fields back home. Yeah, I was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana, in them old cotton fields back home.
Hi, this is LV Smith, host of the show Sounds Within, which comes on Fridays, 8:30 a.m. and 8:30 p.m. When I'm not producing that show, I like to watch Dan Nicewander's show called The Now Men Show, Thursdays at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Hi, LV Smith, host of the show Sounds Within, with Los Angeles Blues Society in the house, with Dave Fertig and S.S. Jones, who just shared his fabulous compilation of a tribute to Lead Belly here. Now, we're going to find out more of what this Blues Society is all about. Now, I remember from members of, was it Bullfish?
Oh, yeah.
Who shared with us on a previous show about what blues is to them. And they mentioned the Blues Society, the Los Angeles Blues Society, which you said started in 2009. I didn't hear about that until 2011. So would you share with us, what is the Blues Society?
Well, it's a 501c3 nonprofit tax-exempt corporation. It's a bunch of people in the community who wanted to foment blues music, the original American art form, by not only having it be played, but by having it be played by people of all skill levels in venues where they might not normally be having the blues. What we've instituted were monthly jams, which is one coming up May 15th here in Pasadena at T. Boyle's over on Catalina.
What is the one after that?
In June?
Yes.
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Keep us posted.
But if you go to lablues.org, it's all there. And we're also on Facebook, the Los Angeles Blues Society on Facebook.
And so it's important to like you there.
Yeah, or at least check in, like us or not, check it out and see where the music is.
Check it out and like it.
We have a calendar on our website, lablues.org, that's got a lot of the blues being done. If you sign up, we have an email that goes out that lists the 40 or 50 bands that are members, showing where their gigs are. Not just members, but also, not just bands, but also venues and foundations, like the Ashgrove Foundation and places like that. But what we're trying to do, like, so for example, we have a jam at a place, we bring in a lot of people, we bring in a band, we have the venue pay the band, people come in and play, kids come in and play with pros or whomever, and then we mix it up, and family comes and enjoys it, people interact that didn't know each other, musicians interact that hadn't heard each other, and they come away with greater understanding of different perspectives, both social, political, cultural, musical, and it just builds community, it builds communication, it builds understanding, and it builds an interest in the blues. And it makes it possible for venues to realize that they don't have to make bands play for free, that it can generate income for them. And we're just trying to invigorate the blues scene in Los Angeles.
In other words, making sure that blues remains a living art.
Absolutely. It's vital because I don't think the culture would ever see blues become a note in history books. It's going to continue because of its essence and its importance.
Yes, it
I mean,
is.
it brought together all the cultures that created this country.
There would not have been Paul Butterfield or Stevie Ray Vaughan without it.
No
Well,
country
there were-
western either.
No
country western.
country western either.
Or Lightning Hopkins or
Miles Davis.
Sunhouse, as you said.
No rock and roll.
Yeah. But I do think that people need to understand that the blues comes as much from Africa as it comes from the church,
Yes,
as it comes from South America and the Caribbean and the Celtic music cultures.
Yes.
Did you know there's 128 notes in an octave in Persian music? In
Yeah.
one octave.
Right.
128 notes. African music, microtonality, that was mixed with church music.
Yes, it was.
And you had all these other influences coming along, and it just created a magical mode that really touches the soul.
You know what, Dave? We have this demon called time. It's a real demon because it robs from us our time to stay together. And we have to bustle and try to find time to meet again before it surfaces and raises its ugly head and says it's time to go. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds to tell your camera right over here. Right here, Dave. What advice do you have for those who are aspiring to pursue the blues?
As SS said, study it, listen to it, look at the older players, the players that brought it up, and get a feeling of where they came from, and think about what their experiences were. Were they sharecroppers were they living in an urban environment doing hard work? Were they travelers? Were they people on the road like Woody Guthrie? It's just getting a sense of where it came from will show you where you want to take it.
Great. And USS?
I would pretty much echo that as well. And also, I would like to say briefly, I would just like to remind everybody, a studio audience, that I'm going to be performing music with the great Dave Fertig, along with the Ashgrove Players, with some fabulous musicians featuring the great Claudia Lanier from the film 20 Feet from Stardom, Academy Award-winning film. We will be performing at the Levitt Pavilion August 21st.
Fabulous.
In Pasadena.
With the Chambers Brothers.
With the Chambers Brothers.
We're going to get to that.
And the Get Lit Players.
10 seconds. How can we get in contact with you?
You can contact me at Mr. S.S. Jones at yahoo.com.
Okay, Dave?
Well, it's Dave at LA Blues
Dave?
and .org. But go to lablues.org online and you'll learn a lot.
Gentlemen, it's fabulous having you here. Folks, do tune in again for another episode of Sounds Within. But remember, learn and live the blues. Peace. And S.S. Jones is closing us off.
All right.
It was in the spring, one sunny day, my sweetheart left me, Lord, she went away. Yeah, now she's gone, and I don't worry, 'cause I'm sitting on top of the world. Well, she called me up down in El Paso. She said, come back, Daddy. Lord, I miss you so. Yeah, now she's gone, and I don't worry, because I'm sitting on top of the world. Don't you come round here holding out your hand. I'm gonna get me a woman just like you got your man. Yeah, now she's gone, I don't worry, 'cause I'm sitting on top of the world. If you don't like my peaches, don't you shake my tree. Yeah, get out of my orchard, hey, and let my peaches be. Yeah, now she's gone, and I don't worry, 'cause I'm sitting on top of the world, 'cause I'm sitting on top of the world. Yeah, I am sitting on top of the world. Ain't nobody's doggone business how my baby treat me. Nobody's business but my own. Yeah, it ain't nobody's doggone business how my baby treat me. Nobody's business but my own. Yeah, if my baby ain't got no money, and I say, here, take all of mine, honey, ain't nobody's business but my own. Yeah, and if I give her my last nickel and I end up in a pickle, nobody's business but my own. Say it ain't nobody's doggone business how my baby treat me. Nobody's business but my own. Yeah, it ain't nobody's doggone business how my nobody's business but my own. Yeah, if my baby fussing right, then the next minute we alright. Ain't nobody's business but my own. Yeah, and if we go to church on Sunday, cabaret all day on Monday, ain't nobody's business but my own. Yeah, it ain't nobody's doggone business how my baby treat me. Nobody's business but my own. Yeah, it ain't nobody's doggone business how my baby treat me. Nobody's business but my own. I said one of these days I might wake up crazy and get my gun and shoot my baby. Nobody's business but my own. Yeah, I said one of these days I might wake up bluesy, get my gun and shoot old Susie. Nobody's business but my own. Say, hey, baby, did you get my letter? If you take me back, I'll treat you better. Nobody's business but my own. Yeah, I say nobody's doggone business how my baby treat me. Nobody's business but my own. Yeah, it ain't nobody's business but my own.
Hi, I'm L.V. Smith, host of the show Sounds Within, which comes on every Friday, 8:30 a.m. and 8:30 p.m. When I'm not producing that show, I like to watch James Jones Jr.'s show, which is called Anybody Can Play Guitar, which comes on Fridays at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. See you then.